What is up? I am your host once again, Mr. Jody Williams, live here on ArmTalk. And my friends, I got a treat for you guys. I got the king of California. I have Derek Smith. Derek, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good, man. Still not used to getting the introduction as king in California, but I'll take it.
Oh, well, hey, you did what you had to do. You deserved it. So, man, yes, props to you on that. So, first things first, before we start hitting up on these topics and stuff, I got to say, and I saw your show and I was listening to it, watching it while I was working out, and you busted out the chalk and you had to get the 3.5 gripper. I can only do 2.5. And when you hit the number 3 and you made it look real easy, and I was like going, ain't a whole lot of people that can squeeze that. I don't even think Michael Talkin. Matter of fact, he's even said he cannot close a number 3 gripper. So, that in itself is very impressive. So I have to give you props on that.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, actually, so wait, you watched the last stream on this past Wednesday?
Yes.
I've been trying to close the 3.5 lately. So normally this past Wednesday I did horrible. The last couple Wednesdays before that, the 3 I closed really easily, like really casually usually, and the 3.5 is like a millimeter away from getting close. So I've been chasing the 3.5 lately, trying to get that one done, which will be a cool little feat of strength, hopefully.
Hey, and I know that, with grippers, you got to really rest, because if you try to go, okay, give me 30 seconds, it doesn't work that way, and
right.
It'll blow you up and to where you just get weaker and weaker and weaker. You don't want to do that. So Paul Stevens says, "What's up, guys? What's up, Paul? How you doing?"
What's going on, Paul?
So I was on the show at Ryan SB. We talked about, Brzezinski, and we talked about Laird, and my thoughts are, and I'll roughly go over that because I talked about with Ryan, but my thoughts were I really didn't think John should take that match now, because the fact that he's taking all these matches then, and is he going to be ready for Devin in 7 weeks? Where I think that should probably be pushed back to like next spring. That's just my opinion. Remind me, how do you feel about that match?
I mean, I give a lot of credit to John. If there's anybody that knows himself or knows the game or knows what tree he's barking up, it would be John Brzezinski. You know what I mean? And so I have a lot of faith in what John's looking for. He's asking, for what he can handle. He wouldn't ask for more than he can accomplish. So I'm not saying that he's the favorite to beat Devin, but I feel that it's not going to be a shutout, and John knows what he's looking at. So I think he's in the game for sure.
Nice. And I just thought that was just my opinion. I'm not saying my opinion is correct. And I also touched base on the Ryan Bowen Lachlan Adair match. I told Ryan, I was like, I was hoping Ryan would win, because that would force RVJ's hand. And we all know they've been going back and forth on social media about one another, where, okay, now you're going to have this match, but since it didn't win, you're probably not going to see it now unless some promoter says, hey, I'm offering this much money, So Preacher Arm Wrestling says, hello, everyone. How you doing, Preacher? So aside from that, I want to talk to you about what's coming up, because now you're more involved with these other tournaments coming up. So let's talk about the Sin City event, okay? You got your thoughts on Cody Merritt versus Tony Thomason, and do you think Tony has maybe a win? And we're talking left-handed, by the way. So do you think he has enough to get one win in? I just saw Cody this past weekend in Kansas City, and it was almost like as soon as he walked in, you knew, okay, who's taking second left hand? That's pretty much how it went down. So tell the viewers out there, if Tony Thomason has a chance, do you think he might get one? Do you think he might get 2 wins in? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, first, I have to preface it with they're both my friends.
Right.
I'm Tony's obviously. I see him more often. He's right down the street, and I'm pulling for Tony. I'm cheering for Tony. I want Tony to win this. I mean, I'll be cheering for my boy to make the big upset. But you have to say, in terms of if I'm betting my life savings on this match, I mean, you have to go with Cody on it, and that's a big jump. I mean, I know rankings aren't a big thing, and I think Tony's ranked for way below where he's actually how good he is.
Right.
But I mean, it's still Cody's number one, and that's a big jump, for Tony. So if I pulled them both left-handed not too long ago, and like Tony beats me left-handed for sure,
right?
But I can feel Tony. You know what I mean? I can. It's not like night and day leap between me and Tony. It's like it's not super far. Between me and Cody, like I couldn't feel Cody. Like last time I pulled Cody when I was in Hawthorne, like nope, couldn't, nothing. No aspect of his arm did I feel had like a give in it, or I could mess with that, or maybe there's a hope in this spot. Like nothing as far as when I pulled Cody. So, but styles make matchups. Maybe I did it completely the wrong way, and I was attacking Cody the wrong way. But just from what I felt. So from my firsthand experience, that's how I feel. If I'm going for Tony. Tony's my boy. I want him to win this, but he's definitely the underdog going into this match. A pretty heavy underdog for sure, I think. But let's go, Tony.
Well, let me use this example. Maybe this might, change your mind. Maybe this might make you root for even Tony even more. So on your show I was listening to as I was working out, and I think now they altered the John Brzezinski, Devin Larratt staking to where, okay, it has to be a sweep now, right? So if John wins, then I don't know what the rule is now, but so if Tony gets one win, using that kind of formula where, okay, all you need is one win, would you put your money on that by chance?
I still haven't even staked at all. I haven't staked a single match yet.
Not to put you on the spot, but I was just kind of curious. Like, you said the smart money's on Cody, but if Tony can squeeze out one win, now would that alter your opinion? Like, all he has to do is win one. Like, okay, I'll bet Tony if he gets one win. Now, does that change everything, or what?
I put some money down on Tony to win one.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I put some money. I mean, would I bet the house? No.
Right.
I definitely throw some money down.
And that's an interesting matchup. And that's what, November 13th, I believe.
You're asking the worst guy with dates. I am like the absolute worst.
I want to say it's in Las Vegas, November 13th, for some odd reason. I'm just. If anybody watching, can y'all give me that? I think it's November 13th, but y'all can check on me. That'd be awesome. Also on the card, we got Eric Spotto and we got Mike Aiello. And as I was talking with Ryan earlier, it's like, okay, you got two big power guys. One's going to be straight power, but one has also some IQ on the arm wrestling table in big events. And how do you see that match unfolding?
I mean, I pulled with both of them as well. Eric is every bit as strong as Michael and Devin hailed him to be when he starts getting into his move, when he starts being offensive. Like I've said, like if I could nickname Eric Spotto, it'd be like the juggernaut. Like once he gets momentum and once he starts going, like you can't stop him.
Yes.
But so the trick is controlling center table. In my opinion, the trick would be controlling center table. It'd be nice to attack Eric's hand, but I don't think Mike has that level of top roll in him. At least I haven't seen it yet. So it all has to do with Mike really controlling center table and controlling and hitting at the ready go. There's a small margin where I think that Mike has an opportunity, but I think it's leaning towards Eric. I don't think Mike can stop once Eric starts going. So I'm leaning towards Eric, which sounds crazy because he does has minimal experience. But just from what I felt, I pulled him and the styles between the two, I'm leaning towards Eric. But who knows? Maybe nerves will get to him. Maybe there could be a bunch of things. It's arm wrestling. Any given Sunday, we'll see what happens. But yeah, right. I'm interested in seeing it. But I think Eric's the pretty heavy favorite.
Nice. And Paul Stevens did say yes, it's indeed on November 13th. So that's going to be a big event. I'm looking forward to it. I think those are the only two super matches on the card. I think the rest is just the actual tournament stuff. So that's going to be exciting. I wish I was going, but I got some other stuff going on the following month. Paul Stevens, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So we'll let that, rest in there. Now, King of the Table 2, another Californian, is on the marquee matchup. You got Larry Wills. You got Brandon Allen. How does that tickle your throat, so to speak? I mean, what do you see with that going on?
Wait, Brandon Allen's from California. Oh, yeah, wait, they're from California. Which one?
Is he from California?
No, Brandon Allen's Las Vegas. Larry Wills from New York.
Ah, so my mistake. So Brandon Allen, my mistake. I knew Larry wasn't, but I thought Brandon was there for some reason. But
no, Brandon trains with Eric Spoto. They're the same team.
Ah, gotcha. Why do I always think they're from California for some reason? Weird.
No, they're like 3.5 hours away. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We crossed back a good amount of times, so
maybe that's why, So with these guys, and I was telling people, when you may have these athletes that do the crossover, to our sport, it's intriguing. You got these power lifters and stuff, and if they ever get a hold of the sport, if they ever grasp it for what it is, and learn how to use that power that they got in their background in the first place, if they ever get an opportunity to do that, they can be dangerous. This is a time where Larry can recapture what he didn't have against Schoolboy earlier this year, where, yeah, he was strong, but Schoolboy just pretty much held him at bay and did what he wanted to him. And I'm hoping that this time around, okay, I'm not sure who Larry's training with, but I'm hoping this time around it's like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and use more of my hand and wrist to go with my power in hopes that I have a better performance as I did with Schoolboy. Your thoughts on that?
Wait, you don't know who Larry's training with right now?
What's that?
You don't know who Larry's training with right now?
I really don't. And somebody shoot me if I don't.
He's Levon and Irakli have been staying with him for like last month.
Ah.
Yeah, he's training with the number one guy in the world. Right
so
now,
does that
month or so?
Does that give him a distinct advantage then?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely helping his training. Some people have the opinion that it's skewing his perception of what's important as far as priorities in arm wrestling because they have him doing bicep curl, like doing the elbow flexors basically every day, like biceps every single day. And Larry recently released one of his videos where he's that biceps are the most important muscles in arm wrestling, hands down.
Whoa, who said that?
Larry said that in his most recent video.
Yes.
And there's an argument to be made about that. Arm wrestling community immediately shit on that idea, but I think there is an argument. Like I can show you matches where everybody says the hand is the most important. I can show you a ton of matches where people lost their hand and still won, but you can't show me a ton of matches where someone's arm went completely straight and they still won.
Hutchins right off the bat, he's lost his.
Or there's a ton of people that their hand gets really bad position and then they still pull out the win. But whose arm? And we're talking about people's arms who could actually go straight. Who loses their bicep and their arm goes straight and they still win? That never happens. Right. So if we're talking about lists of priorities, what you can still win with, you can still win if you can maintain your elbow flexion. You can't win if you lose that.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm glad you brought that up because let's just say in the two guys I just brought up, Jerry Caderet, Todd Hutchins, right? They'll lose their hand, win, but let's be honest, how much bicep are they using though? Because then it's like, okay, you got side pressure in Todd Zilla's case. You got tricep pressure in Jerry's case. I don't recall them ever using a lot of bicep when they win their matches in those positions. I could be wrong, but for Larry to say, "Oh, bicep is the most important," I'm thinking, and how so? You know what I mean?
Well, Todd, I would say Jerry's is chest and tricep. Todd still hinges on his bicep pretty heavily. I mean, or some elbow flexion. When you say it's his bicep or scalus or brachioradialis, whatever he's using, it's some kind of elbow flexion because he's not completely behind his shoulder pressing down. Right. So his flexors still have to work. But yeah, Jerry's, that's definitely a solid argument in Jerry's case. But the thing is, I don't think it's a healthy way to look at training for arm wrestling in regards to just depending on your bicep to do all the work. I think it leads to injuries, and I think it takes away a lot of the fundamentals of arm wrestling and a lot of your options that you would look at as an arm wrestler. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's just like, if you stripped it down to bare minimum, then I guess you could say, the guy whose arm doesn't go straight can be real successful. You know what I mean? If his elbow can just stay bent, you have a lot more options. But yeah, I mean, I won't be training my new guys on my team with that concept, saying like, hey, don't worry, just keep your elbows tight and you'll be okay. we still go based off hand control, because in the big picture, hand control will lead to more victories, in my opinion, overall, and you'll have a healthier career if you base a lot of your pressures off that.
Because Preacher Arm Wrestling says Oleg in the story, Oleg Zulk.
What about him?
Well, I mean the hand. There's no fucking bicep on him that's going to dominate. His
brachioradialis and his peroneal teres, those are elbow flexors. Those were inside that giant forearm.
Yeah.
Hell no, ton of elbow flexion. You see when he does the straps to people, he pulls his pulls across the table.
Yeah.
That's not all.
And there's something to be said for that, because that's why you love these styles of arm wrestlers, because some people say, hey, I'm going to tricep press. I live and die by that. I'm going to make my tricep and shoulders for like Jerry Cataract the best there is. I mean, yeah, he does a lot of press stuff too, 4 or 5, whatever he does. And that fits his style. I'm doing a lot of benches because I'm pressing the weight. I'm getting my chest big for the side. I'm getting my shoulders big to, to guard that hip. And I'm also going to get my triceps strong so I can press down. So those exercise works for him. Whereas you take a Todzilla, hey, I'm doing side pressure, vectors, whatever you want to call it. And then now he has his YouTube channel. He's telling everybody, hello, children, welcome to my show, blah, 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 blah. And he's doing all the side pressure stuff, So, I mean, it goes to every single person. Like I said, I mean, my theory was always control the hand, control the match. Now, don't get me wrong. I've lost with that theory, but I've also won with that theory. So it all depends on what fits, you stylistically. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I definitely agree. It's situational. It's just when Larry put that statement out there, and I believe when Larry said biceps, he's talking about general elbow flexors, because the lifts they're doing aren't pure isolated biceps. They're hitting all elbow flexors. So he's talking about elbow flexion is most important in his opinion. That's what I think he was saying.
Right.
But the arm immediately just shit on him. There was immediately like 7 posts in all the different discussion boards about, Larry's going down the wrong path. He has no idea what he's talking about. And everybody just shitting all over Larry that he's an idiot. So like, I don't know. I just, the more I sat back and looked at it, I was like, what was that? Like, there's an argument to be made for it, for sure. I was like, so whatever. But in regards to the Larry and Brandon match.
Yeah.
I was pushing for that match. When I went out to Dubai, I was in Larry's ear the whole time telling him, dude, it has to be Brandon Allen. I was like, Brandon, you guys came from the same background. You've been in the sport the same amount of time. Brandon's all in with arm wrestling. Like, you could blow that up to make it a really big match. So I've been pushing for that. Then he had the match with Schoolboy, though, instead.
Right.
But, it just, I don't know. It just made a lot of sense in a lot of ways. And I think it'd be a good test for Larry. He keeps arm wrestling guys who've been arm wrestling for a long time. It'd be good for him to go someone at his level, basically. So I'm excited to see it. Right now, people ask me a lot because I pulled them both, my opinions on it. And the thing is, when I pulled Larry, I had just gotten over COVID the week before. And I just traveled across the whole world. I was super weak. I was like the weakest version of me I've been in a long time.
Right.
So it was, in terms of me feeling his strength, it was kind of, it's rough for me to say, like, compared to them strength-wise. So I'm putting a lot of that out when I'm talking about the prediction between them. I put a lot of that, I try not to take regards to the strength too much. But it's stylistically, from what I've seen, and this might change because I'm trying to get, we're trying to get together before the match and get the practice in too. But from what I've seen, Brandon has King's move. He does. And all of Larry's moves start from his hand.
Right.
So they start from Larry controls the hand and gets you into a hook. He controls the hand and tries to top roll you. Everything starts really handy without moving his body or repositioning his body for much. Right. So it just starts. He's a little doesn't have a lot of rhythm on the table. Not a lot of comfort still. A little blocky.
Gotcha.
On the table.
Yeah.
And I think that if you trust your hand to do 100% of it, and without shooting forward or shooting sideways or anything like that, and having a good feel, then if your hand doesn't hold up, or if that's all you're banking on, then it's hard to win, especially against somebody that has a King's move. If that's all you have, right? If you don't have up or the know-how of readjusting and regripping and moving forward, that's a rough sell with someone that has a King's move. So I'll find out when I practice with Brandon how he does with people that really focus on hand control and stuff purely, because I have have him do some like practice matches with them. But I want to see how Brandon adjusts, how his hand holds up. If the moment he loses his hand, does he immediately default to that King's move like really well? Because I do think Brandon's been getting more consistent table time than Larry. So but if that's the case, enough in that King's move, I don't know if Larry has an answer for that. You know what I mean? I don't know if he knows how to readjust, climb up the straps, post back, go for the press. I don't know if he can do it all. And I don't know if his elbow's built up enough where he's confident enough to go forward with that shoulder and try to press it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So in my mind right now, before I work with Brandon again, and I haven't seen Larry in a while, he's been working with top guys in the world. Right now, I have Brandon as the favorite. But I definitely still have some more information I want to see from these guys.
And that's good. Daniel Urick is in the house. What's up, Daniel? How you doing? And Daniel's question to you, and I have to put you on the spot there, Mr. Derek, is Tim going to break Derek?
Wait, what was it? You cut out. Is Tim what?
Is Tim going to break Derek?
Oh, man, I hope not,
When is that match?
If everything goes well, it should be January 26th. So I still haven't seen any posters for the event. It's not, I feel like it's pretty locked in. I do need Tim again because I saw that they announced his Prudnick match.
Yeah.
But the Prudnick match is almost like a month and a half or 2 months before our match. So I'm assuming he's still okay to have our match.
Gotcha.
But yeah, if all things are good, then I'm trying to get some more money thrown at the match, to make it even more enticing for Tim. Just for Tim taking the match, I told him I'd give him $1,000 out of my pocket just for taking the match with me, which is still low. But yeah, I'm asking a legend for a match, an opportunity to potentially, take his ranking and spot. So yeah, it's worth me paying that, no problem.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I'm trying to get more money for the winner or guaranteed money for showing up via sponsorships. Or I got to have another conversation with the promoters and see if they're down to throw some money at it. That's kind of what I'm working on. But yeah, I still want it to be locked in 100%. But I feel like it's a good 85, 90%. Sure the match is going to go on from the vibes I've been getting. So.
Gotcha. So last time we talked on the show, you didn't have the King of California match yet. So with the three-headed monster with Chance Shaw, Corey West, and yourself, now I take a step and look at it. Okay, Chance didn't, of course it's John Brzezinski. I get it, he got the one win on him, Then you look at Corey West and Todd Zilla. He lost 3-2, but only one pin got, worked. So, and we saw you against Tom Nelson. You won easily 3-0. So, how do you guys, or what I ask you a question, where do you guys see yourself now? Because now I'm not sure who Chance is pulling. Oh, no, actually, in Turkey, isn't he? He's pulling out. I forgot his name in Turkey. I'm not sure who Corey's pulling next. You got Tim Bresnan next. So are we really going to have that mountaintop where you guys are all going to meet at the same time? Is that still up?
Yeah, I still think the trajectory of those three. And by the way, there's more people than just us three. Like I always like to remind all the viewers, it's literally just because of social media that us three are always clumped together. You guys ever please remember that? We are three up and coming dudes, but there's still a bunch of other guys that are up and coming as well. They're badass. Right. So yeah, I want to. I always feel bad just take credit. Yeah, us three, just us three. There's there's monsters still climbing, but in regards to us three, I still think there's a chance of a ton of potential. John is on one right now, obviously killing the game. Chance is so young, dude. He's gonna keep climbing and doing amazing things. I think it's inevitable. And I thought that kid when he came out here, that kind of sounded bad. When he came out here when he was 15 for a super match with Cody Hadley, I pulled with Chance, and I was like, dude, this little 15, 16-year-old is crazy strong, and connected. So I think and that was untrained Chance, brand new. Yeah. So I think Chance does have so much potential. His connections are so well. His dad's this monster, strong powerlifter dude, and I think Chance got a lot from that. So I think Chance's trajectory is done. Now, Corey, and then losing to the GOAT, I've been there. Most of, most top guys do have L's to John Brzezinski somewhere on their resume. You can't even call yourself an elite arm wrestler if you don't have a loss to John Brzezinski somewhere in there. It's like a rite of passage.
It's like a badge. It's
I don't read into that too much, regardless of if people are saying John was retired and this and that. He's still John Brzezinski. But
even a 60% John is the best. Chances
in my opinion, Chance's biggest kryptonite is people that have really strong hands and that really, really attack his hand and know how to use it. And that's like the definition of John Brzezinski. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like, it was a rough matchup in general. So, and Chance did pull out a win, and I think he was definitely in the conversation. So, yeah, I don't think that affects him. Now, in terms of Corey West, Corey pulled arguably one of the strongest North American or in the world guys in his move, in the guy's power. You know, and Corey still was able to overpower him in one of the angles or one of the lanes. And then, you know, that's a rough sell with Todd Zilla. So, right. I don't think that. And Corey's still young, and Corey hasn't been in the game that long either, right?
Yeah.
So no, I don't read into that too much in terms of that affecting them. And I've talked to both those guys. I talk to them pretty regularly. They're both hyped. They're both looking at their next matches. Chance has that match with FA. It's the same day that Michael Todd's pulling Gennady.
How the hell do you have the two matches like that on the same day? Are they on the same card?
It's another card. It's the same. And Todd Zilla's pulling Sasho.
And like Brzezink's pulling like Zoliak or something.
Yeah. I think it's that's that same one. So gotcha. I know it's one of those crazy cards out in. I think it's in Turkey again. So Ian Terzi putting it on because you know what he does. He's doing his thing. But yeah, I mean, Chance versus FA. I pulled with FA a little bit when I was in Turkey. It was a quick practice, and like I said, I was a horrible version of myself. But so Herman Stevens has more information on FA. Herman Stevens actually had a super match with him. Right. So, and I guess Herman has been telling Chance he really likes Chance's, chances. So
no point intended.
He thinks he can beat him, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, and there's one person I respect in terms of their arm wrestling ability and arm wrestling knowledge. I mean, it'd be Herman Stevens, you know. So I'm gonna go with Herman on that. If he thinks Chance can do it, he has the right stuff and the right angles for FA, then I'm excited to see it.
Nice. We got a couple more people in the chat. We got Mr. White Wolf is in the house, and I'll get to your question in a second, but I had to go to the other one because Wayne is also with us. How you doing, Wayne? And it just so happens that December 11th, that's a big day. Ain't that right, Paul Stevens? Big day. He's also pulling Marcio Barboza. What are your thoughts on Wayne versus Marcio?
See, I thought I heard a snippet of that, and I hadn't got any verification on that match. Someone mentioned something like that in one of my live streams, but I haven't heard anything else about it. So this is the first I'm really hearing solid that match is happening. So right now this is me live here about it. Okay, so Marcio and Wayne.
Yeah.
Man, Wayne is so strong. And if Wayne is top form, if he shows up top form, like strongest Wayne, prep, ready, heavy, all that stuff, gosh, man, that gigantic hand and that tall post that he does is so much to deal with. Now, I've never pulled Marcio Barboza. So everything I know is purely off speculation and videos and this and that, right?
Right.
I think that Marcio will have more spots that he's stronger than Wayne in, but I do think Wayne has an angle that if he hits it right, he can crack Marcio. When people saw Wayne pull Dave Chafee, I was cheering for Wayne as hard as I could. You know, any of our the up and comers going at these elite guys in North America, I'm cheering for the up and comers.
Yeah.
And I saw Wayne flattened out Dave's wrist somewhat. He did. I know he lost that match, but the fact that he flattened out Dave's wrist somewhat meant the world to me. Right? That meant that that's not that far. Like it's arguable, you know, we're getting there, knocking on some doors, you know what I'm saying? So if he can do that to Dave, I believe Dave has a lot stronger wrist than Marcio. Right. So in terms of maintaining his cup and maintaining a flat wrist. So I think Wayne might be able to crack his hand. I think you have to put Marcio as the favorite, but because of all the different lanes and styles he can pull in. But I mean, you know, Reg just took Marcio to the limit, but Reg's no joke, but I don't know, man.
Right. Well, here's my thing, and I like to go with Marcio. If it ever gets into some kind of shoulder press, I think Marcio has it. Marcio has to hit. If Marcio hits into Wayne's hand, that's where I think Marcio's going to struggle. So Wayne, if you're out there watching, which I know you are, go back and look at the Marcio Barboza versus Matt Mass WAL match, because you guys are similar as far as height, long lever arm. And Marcio struggled, but the one when he did get on Matt was in a strap. Okay, so Matt lost his hand. Marcio had that violent able to crack Matt Mass's hand that much. And when it goes about that much, that's all you need. So if you can maintain that tight pronator, it's going to be hard. So, I mean, who knows? But if I was Wayne, I go back and look at that match. So
have you ever gripped up with Wayne?
What's that?
Have you ever gripped up with Wayne?
Yeah, I did. I didn't do shit with him because
we were. You felt the size of his hand. It's huge.
Yeah.
Wayne,
okay, so that's another thing, though. If Marshall hits into his hand, he's going to have trouble because Marshall does not have a big hand. I've gripped up with Wayne back in Waxahachie earlier this year and do some after pulling and stuff, and I couldn't budge the guy. Not to say I was, I could, but it's just I couldn't do anything with that. His wrist and hand are that solid. And for Marshall, who doesn't have a big hand at all, you got to learn how to use your arm. And I think that's where Marshall's going to go to. He's going to make it an arm game, where Wayne, you make it a hand game. And then here we go, styles matches. We're going back to that again. You know what I mean?
Right.
So back to what White Wolf was asking. He wants to know, are you going to be training with Brzezinski this weekend?
This weekend? No, not this weekend. So I've been talking to John. We talked again yesterday a little bit. I was trying to get John to come out here because I wanted to throw together like a mega practice for John Brzezinski, get all me, Tony Tomlinson, Mega Mike, everybody out there, strongest guys in Southern California, Dallas Langston, out there. But John, I think, I thought we were on the same page with that, but it seems like he's a little busy, and I think he kind of wants me to come out there. Now, if I go out there, it'll probably be me and Mega Mike hopping in the car. Right. I haven't set any date for it because for me to go out there, I'm going to have to call off work, which sucks because I only work weekends. I'm only working like 3 days a week. That means I have to miss out on a good amount of money just to go practice. But some people have messaged me that were really interested in me going out and training with John and actually offered to send me some money to help compensate for that. So because there's people that are that big of fans of John Brzezinski that they were willing to pay me to help John Brzezinski get ready for Devin Larry.
Wow.
So, I might
that's
take
big
them
time
up on that
stuff.
offer. And Mike himself too, Mega Mike, when he goes out there, I mean, he really wants to pull John as well. And it is an opportunity. It's something you kind of got to do if you have the option. You got to pull the goat at some point. So, I definitely am going to try it out there and work out with John a little bit and see. I mean, his form. Did you see his live stream of his form? I think it was looking good. Yes,
I see that. I'm glad you brought that up because it made me think of something. I'm wondering, we're almost 6 weeks away from that now. So I'm wondering, will John go the Michael Todd route and getting ready for Devin? What I mean by that is the fact that remember how Michael, had Corey West, Todd Hutchings, Don Underwood, Chop to help him prepare for Devin. And then Devin had like Matt Mass. I think he might have had Mike Gould too, but I wonder if John's going to do the same thing. I'm going to surround myself with some power guys and go, look, you know what's going on. Help me get ready. Give me all you got so I know what kind of power I'm going to feel. I wonder if John's going to go that route.
Well, I mean, me, Blake Perry, and Wayne Willers also went out there, Mike. All right, don't discredit us. All right, we were there too.
Right,
Mike ready. But I think, John bases a lot of his strength and his gains all off table time. I mean, everybody kind of knows that, So I think John would be more prone to that approach than anybody, really. So I've heard that he's having people. I think he's having Mike come out there. I think he said Mike's coming out on the 13th.
Right.
So I might try to make it out there the same day Michael Todd gets out there. I mean, then two birds, one stone. I can hang out with Mike and John if that's the case.
He would know.
Yeah. So, I think it's a smart call in terms of John's always big on table time and testing himself on the table to see where he's at and stuff. He's always done that. I think like Mike Todd, that was I've never seen him kind of go that route as much because I think Mike is more of a gym head,
Yeah.
And, he based a lot off his lifts. So that was a little different for Mike Todd in my opinion. But yeah, with John, that makes a ton of sense. For him to surround himself with the strongest guys he can to prep for that. So yeah, hopefully we can aid him in that.
Well, yeah, because look at it this way. Monster Michael Todd, he was the last guy to pull Devin really in an actual match. I don't consider that box Devin had. I don't consider that shit, but I consider the last match that was meaningful, I guess you could say. There it is. You come in the fray where it's like, okay, I'm going to bring you the aspect of as a long lever and power. And it's not, and when I say this, guys, I'm not saying that he's never pulled Devin before. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that I got to have the power of a Mega Mike and Michael Todd. I got to have the height advantage or disadvantage, if you will, in Derek Smith to get ready for Devin. Anything I can put in the bowl, recipe-wise, take a wooden spoon, mix it up, and to see if I can come up with that. Maybe get somebody with some serious hand control in certain spots to see if you can come out of that, you know? So I think that's the kind of recipe you might want to need. And let's just see, and let's just throw it against the wall and see what sticks, I guess, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to try to get a hold. If you're prepping for Devin, it makes sense to try to get a hold of long arm, guys like myself or like Wayne, and try to get used to some of those tall angles. So I mean, hopefully I can help John get ready. See if he can beat Devin. I know Devin doesn't mind me helping out John. So yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun. I'll try to recreate the best I can. I'm definitely the strongest I've ever been right now. Still prepping for the Tim match. That's I gotta get a poster of Tim Breslin on my wall so I can throw knives and darts at it. So I'm training pretty hard right now. So yeah, I'll rest up a couple days for the John practice and try to give him something if I can.
And it might be a dual thing because while you're down there helping John prep, don't think that there's no back behind the scenes things where, hey, you got Tim coming up. Let's go ahead and try to get you some Tim stuff going on too. Don't think that won't take place because it was weird when you see, oh, Mike Todd hasn't, some of the top guys at his place, and Corey and Todd are pulling around. All of a sudden, voila, they got that match coming up, and boom, there you go. So, don't think that just because you're there to help John, which you are, but there's going to be some guys saying, okay, you got Tim, let's go ahead and get you ready for Tim. That might take place also. I've heard of that kind of stuff happening before too.
Hey, I'd appreciate any help or input I get. Hey, if anybody listening has any kind of secret tips on Tim Breslin, please shoot them my way.
He doesn't cap his thumb there. I mean, and you can take what you want from that. So I've never met a guy, and you got to remember too, Tim being a super heavyweight, his hand is not that big either, but that guy can top roll like nobody's business without capping. It's amazing what he can do without capping. So,
yeah. Yeah, no, I had my super match with Tim before, and luckily I got some information about that.
Right.
Now, so I know, it's a little different, but I definitely have a feel for Tim. So I kind of know what the red flags are in terms of arm wrestling Tim, what not to do a little bit. So hopefully this will be a little more entertaining than that last match we had. But yeah, I mean, I'm trying to get some information for sure. The left-handed also, I'm trying to set up a match with me and Michael Todd left-handed. We actually talked on the phone last night for like 45 minutes about it. Because Mike's trying to make a real stab lefty. He's trying to train his left. Apparently, it's coming along pretty well. And last time we were practicing, I was owning Mike. I was owning him. So, left-handed, by the way. So we were talking last night, but he said he's down to have a match with me for sure, lefty, but pretty sure Mike's gonna press, and we were joking around about it last night. Like he's pretty sure about it too. And my left elbow, my inner elbow, with some of that presses is just healing up. I can handle people with some top rolls, right? People that go in the hand,
right?
But someone that goes deep inside like that, dude, my elbow's just getting there, and I don't know if it's ready for Michael Todd to press on it right now. So I'd like a little more time to prep for a match with Mike, just like kind of refortify my elbow a little bit,
right?
So I'm pushing back a few months, but he's like, yeah, come over next month, we'll have the match. I'm like, oh man, I don't know if the elbows could be ready for a hard press from Michael Todd.
Well, we're going to find out. So, Arm Wrestling Planet says, "What's up, Jody? What's up, Derek?" Mr. White Wolf says, "Just take away Tim's sunglasses, and it's all good. That's the key."
Yeah, I got to try to take his sunglasses off. I don't want to mess with that guy.
So, I got a question for you, and I've been talking to other people too. Why do you think we're struggling internationally? Like, and I think maybe it's travel, because I was talking with SB earlier today on his show. I said, as far as I guess we're considered West compared to those guys when you cross the pond. So we're making the trip. So North America didn't have a good showing, whether you be Matt Mask, Herman Stevens, RVJ, Uncle John, Ryan Espy, list goes on and on. We didn't have a good Todd Hutchins. We didn't have a good showing going across the pond. And two questions. One, when are they going to return the favor and come over here so they can fucking go through all the, the planes and all that kind of shit and hotel stay and stuff. And why do you think we're struggling on that level?
I mean, I definitely, travel definitely has something to do with it. But we also got to remember, like, when we're having these conversations about West versus East, it is us versus the very best that they have.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And there's a lot of countries over there. It's not just like one country. Like the East is a big side. So there's a lot of people there, and there's a lot of people there that view arm wrestling. I know a lot of Americans, we like to say, oh, there's guys that get paid to arm wrestle. They do and they don't. You know, some get some money, but in general, arm wrestling is more viewed as a professional sport out there, like a professional sport. Like you're the man. If you're a professional arm wrestler, you're top dog. Like you're signing autographs. Like you're the man. Like it's more held that way. Out here, it's not really known that way yet. You know what I mean? Still, it's like the biggest light brought to the sport is kind of like whatever light Devin's brought to us, and it's still not viewed as like a professional sport. It's getting to the point where it's not a barroom thing anymore, but now it's just more oh, cool, you're an arm wrestler like that. You're not. It's not professional athlete. So those guys are striving and training as if you want to be a top NBA player. You know what I mean? They're putting in those type of hours like that, and they view it as such. So I think the general gist and vibe towards arm wrestling is just a more serious one than it is out here. And so they're willing to give up more and stuff to train harder and more intelligently. I think in general, now that's not for specific cases. Now, when you're talking about like those specific matchups, like Matt Mass versus Hermes, like Hermes is a top dog. It's our guys going against the very, very best. Right? And, so it's like, and they're in the matches too. So when we landslide, crazy victory, there'll be small instances in there where it was arguable. Like the very first round of Sasho and RVJ. RVJ flattened out Sasho's arm. Like, just to do that fresh means he's somewhere in the argument. Even Ingen Terzi said after the match, give me 3 months with RVJ and I'll have him beat. That means, and if Ingen Terzi's saying that, who is East, and knows what he's talking about, that means we're in the argument, right? So what? So RVJ loses to Sasho, and maybe he's 2 ranks below him. You know what I mean? It's not far. It's not like it's landslide victories. And same thing, Matt Mass gets a flash pin on Hermes. It's not far. You know what I mean? Right. So it's just people keep saying, "Oh, we can't even, hold the candle to the East guys." That's not the case at all. I don't think. I just think we're facing the very best, and we are traveling and stuff like that. And that does make a difference. But like, yeah, I don't see it as the landslide difference that everybody else says. And like there was a Tony Katowski held Bojidar, sorry, I was saying his name wrong. Yeah. Held him in a hook for a while. That's super impressive. Yeah. The fact that he's like, so we're in there, man. We're in there. It's not far with our top guys for sure.
Well, White Wolf says, "Hey guys, jet lag going east is the way is freaking harder to recoup from than it's coming back here to the west. The difference is right night and day. I've done it hundreds of times. And yes, I mean going back and forth. And I've never been on that side of the world before, so I don't know firsthand. But I will say, I would guess to say that the results would be different had we held that event here in the States, and those guys will come over here because, again, I mean, you look at Ryan Espy's experience when he went to Arm Wars, like, what the fuck, he's the plane issues, and then he's in a house with like 7 other dudes and stuff, and he can't focus or, and all that kind of stuff. RVJ looked like he didn't want to be there. It was just kind of like he's there, but it's like, okay, where's the RVJ that we know that's all fired up at WAL? Never saw that version at all. Right. Body language and all.
And COVID restrictions is definitely applying a lot toward that, making it even worse in terms of travel for sure. Right. I mean, when I was around, I had to do like 2 days, but when I was going to Turkey, Dubai and stuff, and it definitely puts more pressure on there. Yeah. But like, you also, but then when we're talking about travel always messing up all the North Americans, then does that mean that either when John Bersink and Todd Hutchings, those guys were traveling and doing well, or Travis back in the day, they were still traveling and doing well? Right. So were they that far above their competition where they could travel and kill them? So that means they must have actually been like 3 steps ahead? Or, it's kind of an individual based thing, I think. I mean, Ryan went through hell. Like, that was horrible in terms of travel. So, yeah, totally understandable that he got held back by that. And that really affected his performance for sure. But I don't think you can put a blanket statement on every time American travels, it screws up. Yeah, I think it depends on the person and what happens. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the instance.
And like I said, maybe, hopefully this time around, we can get some wins because it's like, all right, so you got Turkey coming up. Okay, Brzezink's on the card, Chance Shaw, Hutchings, Mike Todd. Okay, so it's like, all right, once again, we're going over there. Let's just take care of business guy from North America, and you got Daniel Mosier. He's another one. His next match, he's going to be going over there. So it's like, okay, and like I said, maybe because they have more money on that side, I don't know. But you would hope that at some point, hey, do a promotion here in the States. I don't know to go to get that going because Neil Pickup, Arnold Wars, he's over there. You got Igor, he's over there. Isn't Ingen Turkey? He's over there. I mean, who do we have here in the States that can actually put on a that kind of caliber where they can come over here? I guess that's what I'm.
Well, there you go. There's a perfect chance for Paul Italia doing all that promoting that he's been doing. Man, Paul, that'll really put your name on the map as an international promoter, man. Get those guys to come over here.
Yeah.
There you go. There's your opportunity.
He's doing awesome right now because, even though that he's laying low, he'll do a big event, lay low. Oh, guess what? Now I got this coming. So he's always, once one event's done, he's on to the next. He's lining stuff up. And so that's the one thing, you really got to hand it to him, as far as on that pedestal. I know he rubs a lot of promoters the wrong way because the way he plans events, I get it, It all depends on what you want. I think he's good for the sport because it gives people what they want to see, Everything arm wrestling is good arm wrestling to a certain degree. If you want to do the UAL route or WAL, whatever, you had that. If you want to do just the standard, I'm going to focus on nationals, WAF, IFA, you got that route. If you want to, sit there and hop aboard the Paul Italia Train promotions, you have that route. There's always something open, for, arm wrestlers where they didn't have that. I know when I first got into it, I mean, hell, when I got into sport 11 years ago, all you had was ArmTV and the Northeast Message Board. That's about it,
Oh, we did.
I mean, we even had fucking Tim Breslin will come on the Northeast Message Board, but he was under Milano's account. Hey, this is Tim B again, that kind of shit. So, and by the way, social media wasn't the way it was then either. Like, we actually salivated at the Northeast Message Board because everybody would go there to find out when the next event was. And then by Monday or Tuesday, you're all rocking your chairs going, come on, post the results. Where now people are going live, whether it be on YouTube or they're going live on Facebook or whatever the case may be. You have those kind of outlets now, which that wasn't a thing back then. So, arm wrestling's come a long way, at least when the day I started, So, again, I mean, it's awesome that we have that kind of stuff, Hey,
I want to pause this little sidebar real quick. Last night, I'm sorry. Last night I watched your Roger Learned super match. Man, that was a hell of a match, Jody.
Dude,
that was a hell of a match, man. Fuck. And anybody that's listening to this, man, if you guys haven't watched that match, go to Jody's YouTube channel and watch that match. That was crazy. That was a crazy match. Congratulations, man.
Well, thank you very much for that. And I'm gonna tell you right now, I've had a lot of super matches, in my short 11-year career, but that I will have to put at the very top because it was so stylistically different. You had Roger, who's a power guy inside. I'm like the speed guy outside. It was tick for tat. It was best of 5 and went the full distance. But every time somebody won, the other guy made the adjustment. And that's how it was. And then it got to a point. Okay, it's match number 5. It's do or die. Roger had 2 wins. I had 2 wins. All right, this is it. The buildup because Roger's been in the sport 3 years roughly. So he's a guy in the Northeast. I'm in the Northwest. So it seemed like I was the underdog for one, which was, funny in itself. And, he's been, going up the ladder, building momentum. He's been taking first place, like in overalls, left hand, his weight class, this, that, and the other. And there's a lot more pullers per capita on the East than there is out West. That's just the way it is. Right. And I knew that originally Roger and I talked about that was going to happen sometime next year. But it just happened to happen this year. I'm like, cool, let's make this. I wouldn't say I was scared. I was concerned, though, because I know what he brought. Now, I kept hearing in my ear, Jody, stay away from his hook, stay away from his hook. And what I wanted to do was test my hook if I got to 2-0, but that never happened. So it was like it seemed like I was always on the defense because not at any point in the match until the very end, I was ever up a match. He was either he was up a match or it was tied. So I was always playing catch up. So I mean, I really had to dig deep and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I'm glad it came out me on top. But I told Roger, I said, dude, don't hang your head, man. You know, because you are a very strong puller, very powerful inside. It's like I told people, you know how you get a magnet and a piece of metal, and it kind of just once you get to a certain area, it sucks the middle portion to the magnet. That's how his hook is once he gets that, you know, those bottom two fingers, once he gets you in there, it's hard to come out. And so he got me there a couple of times. And so I had to do a few other things to make sure he didn't, you know, get me into his power. So, yeah, it was a cat and mouse. It was a chess match, man. It was a chess match.
Well, you look super impressive, man. Both you guys did. It was definitely a great match. It looked like a great show, like a great room to be in. It was just in that room with you guys. It seemed like the energy was pretty hot. So, that was awesome.
It was fucking off the hook, man. The table was right there. You had everybody surrounding you, people with the cameras and everything. And I'm sure it'll also be on, let's see here, Joseph Drellick, Natural Born Killers. He was there. So I'm sure he'll be posting it at some point once he gets time in his busy life to post some of that up there. So it was awesome, man. I mean, I enjoyed myself there. And I know that, like, Ryan Clark, that guy was like the man, you know, when he was, you know, he took some time off. You know, I get all that. I pulled him, was able to get a victory on him. But I know deep down it wasn't the real Ryan Clark, meaning that, hey, you know what? It wasn't he went to IFA Worlds. He competed. I think he took 4th. But I pulled him left-handed. I don't know how good he is left-handed. But, you know, I was able to get a win on him, you know. And I felt like, you know, because he was cracking people too. So don't make no mistake about it. Ryan was in there. He got that big, giant back and everything. And he's kind of intimidating because he has a barrel chest and large shoulders. And if you don't know who he is, he looks intimidating. But I was able to squeeze out a victory here. So, you know, I was proud. For me, it was more of proving myself outside of my comfort zone, meaning like I got to come out of Oregon. I got to come out of Pacific Northwest to see, you know, let me see what I can do against some of these studs out here in the Midwest and all that kind of stuff. So that's for me. That's where I'm at in my career. Just, you know, challenge myself. Whether I go to Texas, Ohio, or Oklahoma, Florida, you know, the list goes on and on, Missouri. So just doing that kind of stuff is pretty awesome. And so I was glad I was a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, even on that topic, like for anybody listening, like you guys are arm wrestlers and don't be afraid to travel. You don't have to be an elite to travel, guys. Like I never was. When I traveled, you just go test yourself. You get used to the same guys locally, and you kind of don't know where you're at in the world, in the world of arm wrestling. And so travel. Like I went to Malaysia way before I was ready to go to WAF, you know, but I had an opportunity to go and I went. And so like, if you guys ever fly around, go to New York, go to Texas, go wherever you can, go test yourself and where you're at on the big picture. You know what I mean? If you're ever I feel like if you get stuck in like a local loop, it can kind of be depressing a little bit. You keep losing the same guy, you see him down the street every time, and you're like, well, is this it? Like you got to get out, get on a plane, and go do some shit. You know what I mean? I think it reinvigorates and relights the fire, I think, a lot.
Yeah, and sometimes you got to test yourself because, again, if you pull the same people over and over, two things. I mean, there's pros and cons to it. The good thing about it creates rivalries, which is good. We need that sport. But at the same time, you know, sometimes it can get a little stale, you know? So, I get that. I like the rivalry aspect of it. Like, oh, man, all right, you know, he's got 4 wins on me. I got 3 wins on him. So, yeah, that juice will always be there, you know? But at the end of the day, you got to go take a step back and go, do I want to, you know, how far can I go in this sport? Or would I really stand against some of the guys you always see on social media? You know, I want to be an opportunity to pull those guys, you know? So when you go to an event in Kansas City and you see Cody Merritt, Ryan Clark, Bill Logston, Don Underwood, Eric Gerlach, list goes on and on, Bo Olsen, Russ Shredder, I can go on and on. When you see those kind of caliber guys out there, you kind of go, damn, I want to see, you know, even with an afterpour or something, just to see where you're at. Yes, Derek, you're absolutely right. Take the opportunity to go out there and just to see for yourself what they have to offer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm a big believer in that for sure.
Yeah. So, but again, brother, I just wanted to bring you on here and get your thoughts on the November 13th event and see where you stand. I also want to pick your brain about Tim Breslin. You had covered both of those. So I know you and John at some point will get together and go, hey, how you want to do this stuff? It'd be awesome if you can get some footage too, because I know Devin's going to be sitting up there eating pancakes with walnuts and poppy seeds and shit, watching everything and putting up his cryptic videos about.
There's certain people that are like, I think it's mostly like YouTube people that are kind of not deep in the community. There's a lot of people like counting John out, like thinking John is going to get absolutely wrecked. It won't even be close. And that is just, I don't know, man. That of it just seems crazy to me. I hosted a poll for those of you guys that didn't watch our live stream. I hosted a poll and I asked people, who do you want to win between Devin and John? And John won that poll pretty convincingly. It was like 60 or 70% John and like 30% Devin for who people wanted to win the match. Then I said, okay, now who do you think actually will win the match? And it was like landslide victory for Devin. It was like 80-something% that said Devin's going to destroy John. I think John would be in it. I think Devin's definitely the favorite. I think John has some legs and some things he can do with Devin for sure. But we'll see more as I train John.
This is where, I'm going to use a WWE term because I love WWE. It ain't what it was. But this is where Devin needs to be a heel in this predicament. John's, he's the All-American guy. He's everyone's favorite. Devin's like, I resent that. I resent the fact that John beat me last. So I think Devin he's taking the heel approach where, hey, look at his videos. It's quiet. It's like, hey, John, you're the best. I haven't forgotten, and I'm going to rip your arm off. So already in his videos or promos or however you want to call that, already he's planting the seeds like in this, and he's going to have his fans. Don't get me wrong. But to sit there and think, for some of these guys out here to say, oh, John's too old. I'm like, fuck, dude. Let's be real here. How many of you guys out there are going to be 57 years old, still, clanging and banging? Seriously, because I'll be 46 pretty soon, and I know good and damn well I might not be anywhere. I won't even scratch the surface to where John is right now. He's retired. How many times have he retired? He's kept saying, I'm done now. I want to be, hang out with my grandkids, but he's back one more time, and now I see a different John, like mentally. I see in his eyes. Ever since John got his own YouTube channel, I don't know. It's just the way he talks now. It's like, okay, it's like he has something to prove. He doesn't have anything to prove, by the way, but it seems like to himself he has something to prove because, as I stated earlier on our Ryan show, after pulling these matches with Chance Shaw and Dimitri and Paul, it was like, oh yeah, I would love to pull Devin. Bam, there's a match. But he also said, I would love to, because someone said, hey, what about you and Tadzilla? Oh, if I got ready I would love to pull Todd too. He would love to pull these guys. And all of a sudden, bam, he's in the match here. Bam, he's in the match here. Oh, okay. Now you get to pull Zoli off. It's like his schedule's like next X amount of months.
You're right. That's so awesome. I'm so happy that we're in a time where John Brzenk is traveling into arm wrestling. Like, we're so lucky. I like, it's not gonna last forever. Like, right. I was there the day that Lexi Voda came back for his match with Tim, and I was like, man. I told myself, I said, if he loses to Tim, he's not gonna come back. And he lost to Tim, and he never came back so far. I've heard rumors that he's training again. I've heard rumors that Dennis Spike's training again, actually, too. But I was so lucky to be there, and so we as a community are so lucky to see John going at it again. I think, and even if it's short lived, like I'm happy that we're at this time where we get to see some good matches from the GOAT as well. Right. We are lucky.
I'm telling you guys, it's a treat, and I can't wait. Unfortunately, I won't be able. Well, I might be able to watch maybe a little bit of it, but maybe not because that same day, Washington State's taking place down in Vancouver, Washington, and I have an 8-man round robin on the right hand. I'm involved with a match with Jeff Frank on the left hand, so I'll hear nothing about it until I get to a point where I watch any kind of social media. So, yeah, but that's a big
treat for you guys there too.
What's that?
Southern California treat for you guys in that tournament.
Yeah, Paul Stevens. It's funny because the 8-man round robin, I made a big thing about it because Tim Thomas came to my place a month and a half ago, 2 months maybe, and we did like a live drawing. Hey, who's your first round opponent? It was cool. I thought that was pretty unique, and I pulled Paul Stevens, so it's on Paul. He told me I'm gonna feel his bicep. I'm sure I will. That kind of deal. Also, that's the same day as Marcio Barboza and Wayne Withers. So think about it. December 11th, big day in arm wrestling.
Well, my boy Gage moved up there, right?
Where?
In Washington. My boy Gage lives 10 minutes away from Jacob Abbott. He's only practiced with Jacob one time since he's been up there. He's been up there for like 4 months, 4 or 5 months now.
Why just one time? Oh man, he's like the guy in the Northwest.
So keep your eyes out at that tournament there. Yeah, he's been training. He's been in the gym every single day.
What weight class is he in?
He's always between 200 and 210. He'll up sometimes. He'll pull his weight class, usually up one.
Right. I'm telling you, man. I mean, Jacob Abbott is he is the guy, in the Northwest. I mean, you talk about Northwest Arm Wrestling, that's the guy up in, the Seattle area. So I'm telling you right now, man, make no mistake about it. But Jesus Christ, I mean, November 13th, we got the two super matches with Cody West and Thomason. We got Michael Eric Spotto. December 11th, we got, of course, Washington State with that big card right there. We got Devin versus John Brzezinski. We got Wayne Withers and Barbosa. It's going to be a hell of a guys. I'm glad arm wrestling's back where it needs to be. Pandemic or not, we are here and we are here to stay. That's all I got to say with that. You know what I mean? Well, brother, I want to say thank you for joining me on the show. I know you got some other stuff going on, but I did want to pick your brain about those kind of things and get your thoughts on it. It was awesome being on the show once again. We're going to have to do it again sometime.
Always a pleasure, Jody, man. I appreciate you having me. The ArmTalk thing's been going for a while, man. I'll always be a guest on here if you'll ever have me, for sure. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And everybody, thanks again. Thank Derek Smith for being on the show. Yes, King of California. With that, Derek, my friend, I will talk to you soon, my friend. Have a good one.
Yes, sir, Jody.
Take care. Derek Smith, King, California. Enough said. So once that poster comes out between him and Tim Bresnan, once they get all the details all finalized, I'm sure he'll share it. I'll go ahead and repost it and share it to everybody else. So once again, everybody, thanks for joining me. It's a Freaky Friday, Forearm Friday. There's your forearm right there. So there you go, Mr. Paul Stevens. Again, everybody, thanks for joining me on the show. You guys enjoy your weekend. As always, I see you when I see you. You guys take care now.